Hello everyone, I'm joined here today at Connections Luxury Middle East 2025, no less, by Sarah Hedley Hymers, who's the editorial director of our sister brand, Connecting Travel. Sarah, your career spans over 20 years, from TV to publishing. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your journey.
Well, I'm from the north of England, Newcastle, and it's very cold there. So from an early age, I was always trying to get away on holiday. And I also wanted to be a journalist. So the two things finally met in the middle. And I've been in the Middle East for the last 15 years. So this has become a bit of a speciality for me. And while I've been here, I have authored a Lonely Planet guide to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I do TV shows for Euronews, which is lovely. A lot of the focus has been on Saudi and Dubai, which is always a lot of fun to do. And of course, Connected Travel is the day job. So that's been really interesting because that's the business side of travel, which is actually more fascinating than the resorts and destinations themselves.
Right. So for those of you who are not familiar with Connecting Travel, I think it'd be interesting if we could just explain a little bit more about what the brand is, what it does.
So we are the leading B2B travel trade publication in the Middle East. And we write to travel agents, hoteliers, the travel trade in general. And I think every morning when we get up, what we want to do is just support the industry, support inbound and outbound travel. So we're supporting travel agents who are bringing people into the Middle East, but also supporting, hotels and travel brands overseas and putting them on the radar of Middle East travelers, because obviously it's a very lucrative and growing market. So we support the travel trade as much as we can. Our motto is to inspire and inform, and hopefully we do that and just make their lives a little bit easier, having that information at their fingertips every morning.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's quite rewarding because it's interesting product that you're talking about. There must be a lot of variety to the kind of product you showcase.
It is. It's in the Middle East. It's a shining example of how to do hospitality well. The hotels in this part of the world are probably the best in the world. Obviously, there are outstanding hotels in all corners of the world, but I don't know many places that compare with the Middle East in terms of luxury. So it's a very exciting place to write about. Obviously, I was interviewing Sandeep Walia from Marriott, and he was saying the travel story of the century, of our lifetimes, is Saudi. And that's really fascinating to be seeing something like that unfold now. It's, there's a lot of ramifications, and hopefully a lot of good ramifications, particularly for women. There's a lot of women in Saudi in the travel industry, taking up jobs as tour operators, solo tour guides, and all kinds of really exciting developments, which is just wonderful to see, and a real example of the good that travel can do.
Absolutely. What excites me when I come, it's just there's such a shift and such a change each time you visit. You obviously live here.
Yeah.
It's like when you come back every year or every 6 months, it's a different place, a different country, depending on where you visit.
Yeah, it's developing really quickly. Very tenacious people, very friendly people in the Middle East. Lots of different characters across the Middle East as well. I think it's really interesting to sort of see Qatar versus Oman versus Dubai versus Saudi. So I think there's a lot to explore, and it's all right next to each other. So it's actually becoming quite an interesting Gulf Coast destination for people around the world. And I would highly recommend it. There's very romantic areas, there's big party areas, there's very outdoorsy areas. So there's a lot of product to offer. And obviously, from coast to desert as well, a lot of terrain, a lot of very different terrain. So and year-round sunshine. So that's a bit of a bonus.
Yeah, especially if you're from Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think I live here?
So what do you like to do in your spare time? We were talking about there's the party side, there's the outside side. What is it that you like about living here?
I'm a foodie.
Right.
So for me, that's been my passion. I've watched the Michelin Guide launch in this region. I've watched MENA's 50 Best, that's Middle East and North Africa's 50 Best launch in the region. I've very much been a part of that, supporting the restaurants, writing about the restaurants. In this part of the world, most restaurants are part of hotels. that's to do with the licensing laws, and that's how you get your alcohol license through your hotel. So it's very much a hospitality hotel and hospitality arena. And just seeing the amazing places like Tristan Studio, tiny little studio on the Sheikh Zayed Road in Dubai, and now it's in this sort of glamorous building on the Palm.
Wow.
And it has 2 Michelin stars, and chef Himanshu Saini is just a massive inspiration to people. He's lived here, you know, for as long as I can remember, longer than I have. And very much a part of the fabric of the food scene here, and inspiring chefs from around the world to move here. You know, so you don't have to move to New York or London or Paris to become a Michelin-starred chef. You can do that now in the Middle East. So it's interesting the caliber of culinary geniuses that we're getting flying in now. And obviously, you know, it's a very affluent part of the world, and destinations like this one are just absolutely stunning. So you've got the setting as well as the food.
Yeah.
But yeah, being a foodie, not just the Michelin-starred stuff as well, you know, like the street food, the shawarma, the homegrown pizza, Pitfire Pizza. If you're ever in
I haven't
Dubai,
tried.
you have to.
Need to?
You have to. Yes, you have to. So there's a lot of affordable food. I think there's a misconception globally that if you come to this part of the world, it's going to be really expensive. That's not the case. If you know where to eat and how to sort of avail of happy hours, ladies' nights, and all of those kind of deals, that's how the residents do it, right? That's how we survive living here and have a better quality of life than we do back home. Otherwise, I would be back in Newcastle. If it was cheaper to be in Newcastle, it isn't. It's
And
cheaper.
sunny.
Yes, sunny. But it's not. It's a good place to find, you know, street food and affordable casual food as well. So
You know what I tried for the first time yesterday? Dubai chocolate.
did you have the kanafa? Kanafa get enough? Is that?
That rolls off the tongue. No, it was amazing. It was sort of this chocolate. You might be able to tell the listeners more, but really thick chocolate, and you crack it open, and it's got a sort of green, crunchy goo in the middle.
Yes.
And I've heard that it's $40, $50 a bar. I'm not sure if that's real or not, but
it's quite expensive. It's quite difficult to get.
Right.
You can actually order it on delivery. It's only made in Dubai. You can order it on Deliveroo, but you have to like get on Deliveroo. It's like buying concert tickets. You have to get on Deliveroo early and then try and get it. Obviously, you can go into the chocolatier. It's called Fix, the chocolatier. And yeah, it's filled with kanafa. It's a kind of crispy pastry. That they make cakes with, and it's a mix of that and pistachio cream mixed together. Right. It is good, isn't it?
It's a dream combo.
Yeah, it's really good and really crunchy, and just obviously it's gone viral on social media. I met somebody in the industry back in the UK who's coming to Dubai for Christmas because that was what her daughter wanted, because she wanted to go to the shop and get loads of bars of the Fix chocolate. So yeah, it's definitely put us on the map. See, good food.
Good food. So for those listening in, we're here in Qatar right now. It's February 2025, and we're here for Connections Luxury Middle East. What we're doing with this event is we're focusing on both inbound into the GCC and outbound, and it'd be interesting just to sort of touch on both of those. So if we start with inbound, obviously, I think what those in the travel industry are aware of is the ambitious growth targets that the various countries and destinations have. You know, you've got 2030 visions for Saudi, etc. It'd be interesting just to dive into what you think is key for that growth trajectory, because obviously, as you say, it's got to be both from a luxury sense, it's got to tick a lot of boxes for a lot of individuals to drive the ambitious growth that they want to see over here. So what is that recipe? How is it such a compelling destination for so many people?
I think the diversity is key. So I think if you're coming over here, I would recommend doing at least a 2 center. So go to 2 places. Saudi is just absolutely fascinating. Alula is just such a wonderful ancient part of the world. So to see somewhere like that is very much one end of the spectrum, and then to enjoy cocktails in a rooftop bar in Dubai is another. And I wouldn't want to sort of come to this part of the world, especially if I was doing long haul, without seeing 2 of those places. Some of the best beaches in the world here as well, and obviously lots of lovely sunshine. So I think there's a lot to qualify it, but the thing that I tell everyone, and actually it's not the sunshine or the tax breaks that keeps me here. The thing that keeps me here is safety.
Right.
So what luxury travelers really appreciate when they get here, and a lot of the time don't realize, because the Middle East is kind of grouped into one thing, and it's like, oh, I don't want to go to the Middle East, I'm a bit, concerned about geopolitical issues. That's like saying I don't want to go to, England because something happened in France. It's like, whoa, it doesn't, don't connect all of the dots. They're individual places. And what you'll find typically across the Gulf Coast, is the safety levels are phenomenal. I'll happily go out jogging at 2:00 in the morning if I've come back from a late flight and I want to walk through a park or, clear my head. No problem. I would never do that in London or Newcastle. I would never do that back home. So, you can come here, you can wear your Rolex, you don't have to be worried about, you can have your £5,000 handbag and you can leave it on the bar with your mobile phone and go to the powder room and come back and it will still be there. It is phenomenally safe. In terms of, street crime is almost, non-existent. And you just in the best destinations in the world, it's really difficult to get that.
Yeah.
So that is the big thing that will help drive tourism, if they get that message out to people and people are aware of it. And I think they are. I think that message is coming out.
There's so much product to choose from. I think that's one of the benefits as well, right? It's when we organise events here, we're spoilt for choice of where we can host our amazing trade and the various experiences and cultural sites. You get the inside scoop on new openings, launches, projects in the pipeline. Is there anything on your radar that you're allowed to announce or share? Is there anything that's opened recently that's caught your eye?
Okay, so the big story of 2025, what will be, the focus of attention at Arabian Travel Market this year, is the Jumeirah Marsa Al Arab. So obviously Jumeirah is responsible for giving us Burj Al Arab, the world's first 7-star hotel. That was a journalist who coined the phrase 7-star, but it kind of stuck because they should have created a new star category for that. So people have kind of accepted it and just call it a 7-star. And they're hoping that Marsa Al Arab will be in the same league. It's directly next to Burj Al Arab, so you've got those views. It's in a beautiful part of Dubai. And they are going to go all out. Jumeirah is very much on a trajectory towards becoming an ultra-luxury brand from being a luxury brand. And this is the hotel that's going to make them a lot of noise. So this is going to be the big hotel story in the region for this year. Moving forward, there's a lot of exciting hotels. We're going to have a new world's tallest building coming up soon. Over in Saudi, we've got Trojena, which is going to be the snow resort in Saudi, which is still working out how that's going to happen. But I've met the person who's operating the snow machine and he says it's definitely working. And they're going to have snow Olympics and all kinds of things in that part of the world. So I think there's going to be some amazing things in the pipeline to keep an eye on. But Marsa Al Arab is the one that I would be booking if I was a travel agent and booking for my guests. That's the one I would be getting rooms in.
Sure. I mean, you just can't question the ambition, can you? It's just like pushing boundaries where possible.
Yeah.
Ski resorts in Saudi, tallest buildings in the world. There's no other region which can sort of offer that.
And it's that goes back to what I was saying about the people of this region just have a can-do attitude. They're very ambitious, but also very optimistic, hopeful, and just very positive outlook, and genuinely believe if you want something hard enough, if you try hard enough, you can make it happen. And I think that's why you get such a lot of millionaires in this part of the world. You attract that very entrepreneurial spirit of, if you've got a good idea, a good business idea, move here because it's a good place to find backing, because people will back a good idea. So it's and obviously there's a lot of money in the region to do it. So yeah.
I think that's the perfect segue. We've got a region full of high net worth individuals who want to travel regionally but also internationally. Where do you see regional travellers going overseas? Which destinations are hot?
Right now, because of the White Lotus effect, Thailand. So obviously getting into Four Seasons Koh Samui, which is the star resort of the show, is the hot ticket for people. But I think there's a lot of very good quality hotels around there, and also value for money. And I think the luxury market really does like value for money. The Maldives will always be the Maldives, very popular, not too far away from here, 4.5 hours tops.
Yeah.
With resorts like Cheval Blanc, I think that the Maldives will always have its appeal. Bucket list destinations in Europe, obviously France, the UK, London particularly. But I think it's more about experiences as well. We've got a lot of talk about rail this year. And I think that rail is a good, is the final luxury, like 25,000 for 3 days on a train. And I think that will catch on. And cruise is a growing industry here. And I think that once the region starts experiencing it, they'll be looking at, the luxury cruise lines like Silversea, Silversea doesn't home port here. But I think once people have tried a hop on, hop off experience of cruising, then they'll be interested to go and spend a bit more money on that.
So interesting. So you feel like regional travellers travelling overseas for cruise, there's obviously a lot of new to cruise campaigns that are taking place in the region. You feel that that's going to sort of ignite a regional cruise growth
100%.
right here?
So when I first moved here 15 years ago, I cruised a little bit from the UK, but it hadn't even crossed my mind while I'd been living in this region. And then about 5 years ago, we started working on our ports, home porting with some of the cruise lines. And there's just a growing interest. Our cruise industry here, they're amazing and they're really, really pushing the message. People like Mohammed from Royal Caribbean, just really driving it. We hosted our first Middle East Cruise Agents Awards at Sea with Royal Caribbean last year, and that was fabulously well received. And I think fundamentally things like brunch, right? Brunch is a Dubai institute. We've been doing that the 15 years I've been here, every weekend is a brunch weekend, right? So a cruise is basically a long brunch, but with much better entertainment. So this region, and not, people are worried because is it Arabic friendly, is it Muslim friendly? But there's a lot of high net worth individuals from all over the world in this region. So you've got to think that your demographic here is 90% expats. So they could be from anywhere in the world, India, England, it's a broad spectrum. So you're appealing to the high net worth individuals across all of those nationalities. And with Arabic as well, family holidays are hugely important, multi-generational, hugely important. And cruise ships just cater really well for that. You can have rooms for grandma, the kids can go and play on the race tracks, and there's the luxury segment like on NCL's Haven, for example. And I think I don't know why it didn't cross my mind. It just wasn't in the media. It wasn't in, back in those days I was working at Condé Nast Traveller. We never wrote about it. It wasn't on our agenda. And I think we've just launched, a select group of destinations in the Gulf have just launched Cruise Arabia, which is an alliance to try and put cruise in this, develop the cruise industry in this area. And I think in 5 years' time, in the same way that you see such a difference with the hotels, I think you'll come back and see such a buzzing cruise industry here. And I think we're getting the big ships in. Obviously in Qatar, we've had some big ships. They were hotels during the World Cup. I think it's being introduced now as an idea. So people are considering it and thinking, should that be one of our holidays of the year?
Sure.
And I think we just need to, the media and agents just need to persuade them that that's correct.
Yeah, and I think it just feels like such a natural fit. If I think back to what you said earlier, it's like maybe it's a multi-destination region. If you're coming for the first time, there's a few places to see if you really want to get the most of it. Also, if safety concerns, not everyone is brave when they travel, and maybe the safety of a familiar cruise company they've cruised with before. So where do you see a sort of typical cruise itinerary? Like, who are the players in Cruise Arabia? What kind of ports would you stop at?
Well, Dubai tourism is very much leading the way with Cruise Arabia. We've got Dubai, obviously brilliant as a home port because you can spend 2 weeks in Dubai, so 2 days is no problem. Qatar is home porting. I think MSC is using Qatar as a home port. And then the cruise ships are going around the region. You've got like Crystal, for example, and We've got our cruise island now, Sabanyas Beach, which is just dedicated to cruises, which is very kind of in the style of Royal Caribbean with their Caribbean islands. But like you say, super safe. So you go to the Caribbean and there's places where you have to be careful. You have to have your wits about you. You don't here. You don't have to have your wits about you. You're going to be absolutely safe. Yeah. And I think that's a really lovely feeling, especially if you're traveling with kids. Sure. So yeah, and there's some great itineraries. NCL had one leaving from Dubai last November going out to Madagascar. So an amazing, and they are such good family ships, and you've got your haven, the luxury section for luxury travelers, and then you're going to these destinations that you wouldn't maybe want to spend more than a day in or more than a couple of days in, just to sample them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the appeal. And I think the more home porting we get in this region, the better, because I think if you can just get on from the local area, even if it's just one side, then that will be, that incentivizes people. It removes an obstacle of having to fly out. So if you think about the popular cruise places like Miami or, London for Southampton, these are, busy home ports. It's easy. So we just need to, attract the cruise lines to this part of the world, make sure that the itinerary planners are really putting together exciting itineraries, which, that shouldn't be a problem. And then just getting the awareness out to the trade.
There you go. So watch this space for cruise growth in the region. We were talking about sort of coming to the region and multi-visits, multi-destinations. It makes me feel quite lazy because I definitely have come here and just chilled.
Yeah.
I like going to, Oman.
Yes.
Shameless plug, but if you go to, Al Bustan or Jumeirah, and I could sit on the beach for a few weeks and just have a great time. And I think that's also the flip side, right?
And why not? It's your holiday, your way. And I just think, if you want to jump out of a plane, you can do that too. If you want to party every night of the week, you can do that too. It is just very diverse. And I think people don't realize that or how safe it is. And these are the two messages that I would be putting out to international markets.
Sure. So I'm a hotel in Italy, and I'm interested in increasing my business out of the GCC. Have you got any top tips on what I could do to maybe make myself more attractive to the market here?
They like to be taken care of, particularly the luxury market. So don't leave transfers and things up to the guest. Make sure that it's a door-to-door experience. Because I've been here for 15 years, when I don't get that, I'm like, what? I've got to get from here to you, and you're not going to pick me up and give me some hot towels? Like, I just don't understand that, because it's not standard, but it's very typical in this part of the world. So door-to-door, do that for sure. I'm loving this, we were talking about the Dubai chocolate, the trophy hunting, finding those specific souvenirs. I think if there's something very appealing about your hotel, because there's lots of beautiful hotels in Italy, tell my region, tell the media and the trade, what is special about this hotel? What is it connected to? What's its story? So the last hotel I went to in Italy, they it was in Capri, and they had some little leather sandals made for me. And you get a bag in your room with the base of the sandals, and then you go to the little shop, which is 2 minutes away, and they make the shoes in half an hour. The hotel and the shoe shop aren't connected. They're both, long-standing Capri institutes, and the hotel's just had the presence of mind to go, that's really cool, let's make that our trophy. And then you get it in a little gift bag. And I think those are the kind of things that you put on to Instagram, and then all your other friends in Dubai go, oh my God, I saw your new sandals, that's so cool. And that's how the word of mouth is triggered. So I think knowing what your unique selling points are, your unique trophies and souvenirs, giving a door-to-door service, and just being mindful of, do you need Arabic speaking? Do you need a prayer room? Do you need just to be aware of all the cultural differences, but don't just think because we're from this region, we are Arabic and Muslim, because we might be, Catholic and British, or we might be, from India, or it's a very diverse landscape in terms of people. So you have to have very well-educated teams who know how to deal with lots of different markets.
Sure. I mean, that's great feedback, and a lot to learn there and unpick for our members, of course. So we're here at the Waldorf Astoria, Lusail. We've got a busy event downstairs that you and I need to return to. Have you got any closing thoughts or remarks for our listeners?
I would just encourage people to come over to the region, do 2 nights and a cruise to get in those extra destinations and find out which is your favourite Gulf Coast country from there.
Fantastic. So thanks everyone. That's Sarah Hedley Hymers, Editorial Director of our sister brand Connecting Travel. If you're interested in further reaching for inbound or outbound from the GCC markets, do get in touch. How do we reach you, Sarah?
connectingtravel.com. Just get in touch with us, or sarah@connectingtravel.com if you want to email me.
Great. Thank you very much for your time, Sarah.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening.